Marion Hobby, went to be the co-D coordinator, I guess, for the Jaguars. Dan Brooks retired, had been with me from day one. And so it gave me an opportunity to hire Romansky and Todd Bates and to promote Mickey. So those were guys that had been kind of on our staff in a support role. So created new opportunity for them. And so, you know, it's good, but we've got several guys on our staff that will have opportunities to be head coaches at some point, whenever that time comes. And you know, you hope that you do a good job in preparing them for that opportunity if they want to do that. And you wish them well. And then, you know, again, it's, as he said, it's great for them, but also an opportunity for you to you know, bring new energy in to your building.
We'll go to the center on the right aisle.
Coach Saban, Dimitri Chin, Action Sports and News. With your offensive coordinator heading to Maryland at the end of this year, how significant of a role did he play in helping develop an offensive scheme for Tua to thrive in?
Well, I think the thing that our offensive staff did, and Mike made a great contribution to that, was we always try to adapt to what our players can do. And I think that always starts with the quarterback. But we said in the beginning of the season this year that we're going to have a different kind of team on offense because we have really good skill players, we've got good runners, we've got a couple quarterbacks who can operate the way our guys have in the system that we have. So I think all of our coaches contributed to it, but I think Mike did a really good job of organizing that, and the players responded well to it, and you know, we made a lot of explosive plays, and I'm sure Mike would tell you that we'd like to be more consistent at times, as all coaches would say, but we feel really pleased with what we were able to accomplish offensively, and Tua did a great job, as did Jalen. I think improved, you know, dramatically this year as well. So I think our entire staff did a really phenomenal job.
We'll go back in the center, second row.
AP Stedham, WHEP, AM and FM, Foley, Alabama. This is for all four coaches. What is the X factor you've seen in your opponent?
Coach Kelly, we'll go ahead and start with you and work our way down.
Well, you know, obviously, you know, when you talk about playing an opponent, it's the ability to close games out, the ability to know how to win, and that's Clemson. They know how to win football games. They've been winning, and so, you know, I think everybody that's up here has developed and built a winning culture within their football team. So you can't pin that on any one particular player. That's something that's within, you know, the fabric of the football program that's been built over time. So that would be the X factor.
Well, I would say they're battle tested. You know, they've been in some great venues this year, some unique places that they've had to go play. They've played some excellent teams, and they've had a lot of different challenges. I'm just kind of really diving in deeply into their season, but they've handled adversity. They've played with leads. They come from behind. They've done a little bit of everything. So I think just that overall experience that they've had this year, you can see a very confident football team. They're incredibly well coached. They don't make a lot of mistakes. And I think the balance that they have really presents some problems. This quarterback and the change, we went through kind of a similar thing that they did. And their quarterback has just grown and grown and grown as the season has gone. So I would just say the confidence and the fact that they're battle tested from the experience that they've had this year, it gives them every reason to be confident going into this postseason.
Yeah, tough to narrow it down to one when you start to study Alabama and all they do well. The thing I've seen from afar, and I don't want to act like I'm an expert on their program. I'm not in those walls day to day, but you see the unselfishness, you know, in that program. I mean, the most obvious, notable example is Jalen Hurts, you know, and how he handled that entire situation. I don't know if there's a coach in the country that doesn't look back at that and say, every kid, every college football player, every young football player out there, every 6-year-old that's getting ready to play the game ought to see that story, because we need more guys like him. And so really impressed with how their whole program, you know, managed, you know, great players in different positions. And then as a team, the obvious thing would be to say that, Alabama's certainly been, more explosive offensively, than they've been in a while. And they've been good offensively, no question, but this group's been different, and they're certainly, fantastic defensively like they've been forever. So, great challenge, but, couldn't say I could not be more impressed with Jalen Hurts, how he handled that just from afar. Big fan of that kid and how that entire situation was managed.
Well, I think that Oklahoma is a team that certainly knows how to win. They've had some great games this year, high-scoring games where their defense has come through when they need to. But I do think this is one of the most dynamic teams that I've seen for a long, long time in terms of the way they play offense. I think, Lincoln does a great job with their players. They've got some really explosive players. Quarterback's an explosive player. They can run the ball. They have great balance. So, I don't know that there's one particular thing other than I think their players know how to win, and they've won a lot of close games, and they've come from behind in games. And this is a team that is as explosive as any as I've ever seen, and it's not. I mean, it's designed that way. It's not like, and I think it's very difficult to stop a team like that. And I think that Coach Riley does a great job, and their players believe in it and execute it extremely well.
All right, we're going to go to the very far left on the aisle.
Clinton Yates, ESPN. Coach Riley, do you mind telling me a little bit about what it's been like from an experience standpoint, coaching Kyler, in terms of him being, a two-sport guy and, sitting behind Bake and all that? Just what has it been like for having a guy like that in your program and come through and be such a leader on your team?
Yeah, it's been a joy. It's been a challenge. I think we were fortunate in the way that it unfolded. First, getting Kyler in his transfer year as he sat, got a chance just to get to know him, his makeup, start to develop the relationship that you got to have between player and coach, to be elite. And then, balancing the baseball and football. The biggest challenge was on him, of course, just to do it. It's hard enough just to, we all know, just to play college football at this level and balance that in academics is remarkably hard by itself, and then you add in a whole nother sport. I don't think people realize the challenge. I mean, every spring practice just about this year, this guy would go through a full meeting, a full football practice. I'd get his reps done 10 minutes early so he could hustle over there and get 5 or 6 swings at BP and then go play college baseball at a high level, traveling back and forth, very few days off, but the kid did it, and we learned a lot from last year. You look at kind of his success. He didn't play much for us football-wise last year. When he did, he played well, but he had just an average year 2 years ago baseball-wise, and I really think we all learned, us, our baseball staff, and Kyler, on how to manage it, what is too much, and because you've got a thoroughbred like that, you've got to make sure and handle it the right way and set it up the right way. So I think we had a much better plan this year. I think Kyler had a much better mindset coming in, and you've seen the results, obviously on the baseball field, and then certainly what he's done for us this year has been pretty remarkable.
We'll go to the center on the left and the back on the aisle.
Dan Moriarty,